Good morning. We are live with Torah, and thank you for joining us today. We are learning for a refuah shlema for a bunch of folks, including a sweet young lady. She's like 8, 9, with cancer, who we're davening for, Maya Bat Sarah. We're also davening for Lynn Bas Pesalea, David Ben Sophia, Yassel Ben Leah, Amiram Ben Shoshana Israel Ben Yochevet, Harriet Bat Lillian, and if you have other people, Sarah Bat Betty, if you know other people who need refuah shlema, please, feel free to send in, and we'll include them in our prayers this morning, and that the learning that we're doing should be in their merit for a refuah shlema. Chava Basdina, Claris Bat Etta, thank you. And another thing, I just put up an evolving sheet. When coronavirus first came out it really impacted our life severely here in Los Angeles in March of 2020. I put up on Sefaria a little thing about saying Parshas Ketores, and I've updated over the months. And now I've created a new, because this past week was the Torah portion where we learned the Ketores. Ketores is the holy, what do you call it? The holy incense that the Torah teaches us about making, and it's very special. And this holy incense is discussed a bit in the Torah, but then in the Talmud and in Midrash and other places, it's discussed at length. So without going into too much depth, just want to let everybody know that we'll be posting this new source sheet with additional insights I'll be adding to it. And I think that it's something that all of us should consider saying every day if we're not already saying the Ketores. It seems that this is something which could really benefit all of us. And we're starting a new chapter as well today, so that's exciting. And we are in the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. If you're following along on Sefaria or in another book, it's easy to find Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, chapter 32. Paragraph 1. Ha'il v'hayois haguf bri bari v'shalom midarchei Hashem hu sharei efshar she'avin o she'yedeh davar midis haboire v'hu choleh. So previously, in the last chapter, we learned about these different ways that a person is supposed to comport themselves, right? Different midot, different character traits which a person should work on to be a better person, to be a better Jew. And so now we're talking about physical health, that a person, their body has to be healthy and whole. When a person is sick, it's so difficult to understand and to know and to connect with the knowledge of our Creator. When a person's not feeling well, it impacts our knowledge, our ability to connect. A person should distance themselves. Anything which weakens the body, a person should steer away from. Right? And we have to prevent ourselves from, things which are going to weaken and harm the body, and rather do things which are going to benefit the body. V'chein hu oimer v'nishmartem me'id the nafshoseichem. Me'od nafshoseichem. There's a typo in the text here. So what does that mean? There is actually a mitzvah in the Torah to guard your health. And, I don't want to joke around too much, but, you sometimes you go to a shul kiddush and you see what they're serving, you think, I'm not sure that's permitted to eat. It is food which might be Jewish soul food, and it might be things that people grew up with. But from what we know now, a person needs to be careful about their diet, because we know that diet is one of the things which can impact a person's health, among many other things, right? And working on our mental health and on our spiritual health and our physical health. But today we're talking about physical health and the importance of guarding your physical health. So it says, "V'nishmartem me'od es nafshoseichem." You have to not just guard your health, but me'od, very much so, right? So, the things, as we have learned more about the incredible complexity and genius of the body, and science and doctors have researched more. So this is an ever-evolving area, and one has to be careful, because just because you read something online, right, doesn't mean that is necessarily authentic medical advice. And people love, saying things and love sharing ideas, and we need to be cautious both in how we take care of ourselves and cautious in who we listen to in regards to our health. So we have to stick with experts, and even that today can be challenging if you're not careful. A person can easily read the advice of somebody who seems very authentic, but upon further exploration, they might not be so. So I can't really get into all the details here, but when it comes to guarding our health, it's not just enough to hear one idea and say that's a good idea. We have to look at what the source is, and work with doctors and experts who are trusted, so that we can do the mitzvah, right? So it's about doing the mitzvah. And why is it important? Because if we don't take care of our health, then we can't serve Hashem as well. And that's the whole point, is to have this, to be able to serve our Creator is one of the reasons we were created. So if we're not taking care of our health, then we're not doing everything we can to serve our Creator. So Haboire Baruch Hu, Baruch Shmo, right? The Creator, blessed is Hashem. May His name be blessed. Bara es Adam, created the person. Chom tiv'i, v'zeu hachius shel Adam. So he says that he refers to this kind of vitality of the person as this kind of like inner heat, right? So if you go on Safari, you'll see that this chapter is not translated, right? And the reason probably because is that this is not in line. This is not how we describe the science of the body today, right? And so one might think that there's a contradiction, but it's very interesting, right? If we do not depend on, it's a very, very important subject. When the Talmud or ancient sources give medical advice, it does not override contemporary scientific knowledge on medical advice, right? Whereas the Talmudic knowledge in any other area, almost any other area would, and the reason for that is because as Rabbi Zimmerman and others have explained, is that the Torah's, the Talmud's ability to explain science and our ability to understand it today are in different places. So we don't go to the Talmud, and not that the Talmud's wrong, but we have a different understanding of it, more complex, more deep and wrong. And there actually might be things which we now know to be different. So he says that the body has this. So right in ancient medicine, there's this idea of different kind of heat, and that heat was an important element. And if a person, but we're going to give you a beautiful insight into this. I hope it'll be effective. And this kind of inner heat this inner heat, let's call it this inner warmth, natural warmth, and it's that Hashem placed within us. This is this life power force. And if a person should to put out ha'esha TV, this natural fire which burns in the person, efes echius, then they're going to, God forbid, they're going to pass away. And we have to strengthen this inner force through the food that we eat. Now, if you look in Eastern medicine, this is still a very a common idea, right? That there is this life force within us, and we have to strengthen that life force through the food we eat and so forth, because then when that life force is deficient, so it has a negative effect on our health. And he says, but what is so amazing, right, is that he right away starts talking about our food. What food are we eating? Just like a fire, that if a person doesn't keep putting on it more wood, okay, it's going to go out. So if a person doesn't eat, they're also not going to have energy, right? And we call it the calories, right? If you don't consume calories, you can't exist. So we know that starving a person or anything which, God forbid, is going to purposefully, decrease a person's amount of food they're eating is wrong. We have to eat so that we can have the caloric energy needed, right, to continue. The food is ground up between our teeth, right, and it's connected. Then it's mixed in with the saliva. Umisham yored tumcha v'nazan gam sham, right, and so it starts to be digested there, and then it goes down into our stomachs and is digested further there. Umisham yored, right, out of hima mitzim, and then it's there with the intestinal juices or our stomach's juices. Mitza eats mucha umitza mara, so it's mixed with these different we call them juices, but they're these intestinal juices. These are secretions which our stomach and the different parts of the organs they secrete in order to digest the food. V'yutach v'yitzbashel me'achom, right? And he calls it like it's cooked. In other words, that these things digest it. Mitzvah is akel. Habarur shebo mimenu nizoivim kol averim mikayim elchius. And through that process of digestion, that provides the energy which the person needs to function. And right, anything which is not needed as part of this digestive process is eliminated. Right, and we say this in every morning. If you read in the Siddur, right, the morning prayer on Asher Yatzar, which is this important and beautiful prayer about the functioning of this part of our body, right, the digestive system. So, right, it's such a genius that our bodies are able to absorb and to use that which is needed and to expel which is not needed, right? That there is a genius to that. He calls it the Teva Adam, right? That this is a genius. V'chol aver moishech alav mezona ruilo. And every limb, right, draws that sustenance that it needs. And right, and the rest is expelled. And God forbid, that's my line, God forbid. And if the person could not eliminate that which is psolet, that which is unnecessary, which we don't use up, is apesh v'yavoli decholim, right? They're going to become weak and they're going to become sick. Rahman al-Tzlan, God forbid. Ulechen rov brius aguf v'chulshan talui be'ichol ha'maychel. And he says most of our health of the body, and when it becomes weak or strong, depends on the ikol ha'maychel. It talks about the digestion of the food. Right? If it's being digested in a good and a easy way, azadam barid, the person is healthy. But if this process of eating and digestion is messed up, and if through our eating, our digestion, it doesn't milkalkul, it's messed up, it's broken, then the person's going to become weak, and then they can come to sickness, God forbid. So a summary here on these first two paragraphs, right, is that while we might not look to the older sources, right, this is mid 1800s. Today, if you look in journals and the latest scientific stuff, we know how important it is, the food we are eating. So that has never changed, right? That the Torah has taught us this, the Talmud has taught us this, the rabbis have taught us this, that the food we eat is critical component to health. And we'll discuss more and learn more about this, please God, tomorrow. Everybody have a phenomenal